and gentlemen, as welcome to each of us in Singapore, umumkan perorangan masuk ke KMC nomor 22 dan perjalanan di Laos dan Singapura. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand up for the national anthem of Laos. Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan pada hari ini, yang dihormati, Minister Presiden Muhammad Kebangsaan Laos.
Look alive, look alive. Come on. Go for the big shot, please.
Welcome to the SAYMANOLINH Stadium. Football from the 29th Southeast Asian Games, featuring Singapore in their third match of the tournament against Laos. This a milestone football match for Singapore. It's their 100th football game at the SEA Games, and it's another Singaporean, Mike Wong, who is coaching the opposition today, Laos alongside Dave Booth. And it's a must-win match for the Young Lions. Not only that, a must-win handsomely if possible, because they need miracles to happen. What started out as a distant dream has gone even further. Having a look at the Singapore lineup, they make 4 changes to the squad that lost 2-1 to Malaysia the other day, and that includes AMIRUL bin Ashraf, the scorer, being substituted in place of TAUFIK Suparno. He, Sharin Sabrin, Adam Swandi and Hanafi Akbar get their first starts of the tournament, and out go Sharil Sazali, Mohamed Suhaimin and Elias Lee. Laos are very much still in the running despite narrowly losing to Myanmar the other night 3-1, and they conceded those 2 goals in the extra period of play that the referee added on to the time. Rishad Tadi, the 15th coach of Singapore at the SEA Games, looking over, hoping for his first ever SEA Games win, and he'll be hoping that his Chargers start this match in storming fashion because they need the 3 points desperately. The referee's from UAE, Al Yakubi, and he'll be assisted down the lines by officials from Hong Kong and Japan. So here we go then, the 100th match for Singapore at the SEA Games, still looking for that elusive 40th victory against a side that they've never lost in the SEA Games to Laos. Laos, though, have scored in their last 2 meetings against the Young Lions. The Young Lions, Singapore, are one of 2 teams that they have never beaten at the SEA Games, the other being Malaysia, who will be their final opponents in this group. As I said, they're very much alive despite that loss to Myanmar. They still have a lot to play for, because if they win this and their final 2 matches, including doing a number against the host nation, they could be on their way to the semi-finals for the first time since 2009, where they qualified in the same group as Singapore and then lost out in the 3rd and 4th match. Hanafi's first little move was a step over, which forced a face palm moment for him. And Helmi steps inside, trying to cover it just in time. Adam Swandi, in fact, was in risk for the opening 2 matches. Adam is put inside here, probably to play almost as a quarterback in the central midfield zone. Hami Shayan left to make sure that he continues combining with IKHSAN up front. Captain BOUNTHAVY, ball stripped away from him very quickly, and the challenge coming in from Adam Swandi a little too strong on SOUKCHINDA. SOUKCHINDA NATPHASOUK, one of 2 players in the squad that played at the last SEA Games. In fact, the 2 top scorers from the last SEA Games, SOUKCHINDA and PHOUTTHASAY, are both in this Laotian team. Free kick for Laos in the opening stages of this match. ZHARFAN ROHAIZAD looked a little suspect dealing with those crosses in the early stages of a match against Malaysia, although he's come out decisively enough and palmed those crosses away. We'll have to deal with this, and the referee signal for free kick. Laotian players a little overzealous in trying to get into the box to meet the cross, which never really had the height to trouble the Singapore defense. Mohelmi Suhaimi deemed good enough to start again following his first appearance of the games. That's not a very good goal kick, but he escaped with it. And here's Hami Shayan trying to eviscerate this defense with a perfect pass to Hanafi Akbar. Brilliant cross inside. That should have been the opening goal. It is now. 2 minutes gone, and Singapore have got the start that they so desired. And it's TAUFIK Suparno who gets his first of the tournament. Just their first attack. It came off a very poor goal kick by the goalkeeper and somehow found its way all the way into the Laotian half. Hami Shayan with a perfect pass outside to an on-rushing Hanafi Akbar. His cross inside was absolutely perfect, and we all thought it was late on the plate for IKHSAN FANDI to tap it home. IKHSAN completely misjudged it, but TAUFIK Suparno was out on the outside, ready to devour. And that he did, with all the aplomb in the world, and Singapore up ahead by a goal to 0. TAUFIK Suparno, top scorer of the Young Lions this year, scores Singapore's 10th ever goal against Laos at the SEA Games. And they might have their tails up now. As I said, not just to win, but win handsomely. IKHSAN trying to give that little run around to PIYAPHONG. PIYAPHONG, PATHAMMAVONG. Not an easy opponent to get past. He is very strong in the air and very quick on the ground as well. The central defender, Mike Wong, wasn't too happy at all with the way his side just caved in so easily. Instead of profiting from the goalkeeper's mistakes, he just fell asleep momentarily. Especially the right fullback, Captain SIPASONG, who had just gone forward, thinking that his midfielder then, THANIN, would just knock the ball onto him. Instead, he was found napping, and Hanafi Akbar had all the time and freedom in the world down the right-hand side, the left-hand side for Singapore to put in that cross. The last thing they need now is to concede straight away after scoring. And that AMIRUL ADLI is there to ensure that it didn't happen that time around. And he is, what an impact he's made in his first match, Hanafi Akbar. That's the danger man for Laos, FATHANA, PHOMMATHEP. He's always lurking and trying to destroy defenses down the right-hand side, but he's very much an inverted winger who can cut inside at any given opportunity to take shots at goal. A lot of people saying that he probably is Laos's best young player. At least a lot of clubs in the Laotian league think so. IKHSAN FANDI loses out in the air, but Hanafi Akbar gambled and has control of the ball. Still Hanafi tried to look for the angle for the cross, couldn't find it. And tried to look for the corner and couldn't find it either. SIPASONG ensuring that to at least put out a play for a throw to Singapore. And only a throw. Rashidi Salim was switched from his normal right fullback slot to take the place of Sharul Sazali, so that his captain Sharin Sabrin can play down the right-hand side. It's a lovely start for Rishad Tardy, and exactly what the game needs here. An open match, as open as the skies have been this afternoon at the SAYMANOLINH Stadium. Ami Shahin cleverly dancing his way around a couple of challenges. Well, it is one thing to take an early lead, but it's another thing to actually build on the momentum. And Singapore need to find a way to add to this scoreline. Long switch ball by Adam Swandi. Was looking for a goal scorer, TAUFIK SUPARNO. Well, both of Singapore's goal scorers, AMIRUL Ashraf and TAUFIK SUPARNO, have started matches down that right flank. So it might be a good omen and lucky position for the Singapore squad heading into their final match after this against Brunei. That's what usually happens. Your wingers are so very important. Comes in these matches when your main strikers usually marked out. Not the best of touches from TAUFIK, neither was it from the Laotian back line. Clearance has to be made though, and studs were showing then from KHAMPANH as he went diving into that ball. Referees allowed play to go on. Sharin's challenge was a little too strong that time on PHITHACK. KONGMATHILATH. Free kick for the Laotians. Remember, they need the victory a lot more than Singapore. And for Singapore to qualify, they do need favours from their opponents today and Brunei. Especially in the later match when Brunei face up against Myanmar. Brunei do somehow manage a miraculous win in that game. Might still be game on for Singapore. But in the case of Singapore, it's a point needed from either Malaysia or Myanmar, and they're out. IKHSAN, still IKHSAN, Hanafi Akbar screaming for the ball, trying to keep pace with IKHSAN, trying to burst a hamstring to get inside there. Couldn't do so. Adam Swandi does force the corner. Well, it's a very open Laotian side. I guess they came out looking to get the early goal against Singapore, but defense has just been caught square time and again, and they've been very vulnerable to the balls played in behind. There's also a signal to the bench from PIYAPHONG. It's not a very good sign from the player who scored 2 goals and they finished third at the 2015 AFF Under-19. He signaled to the bench that his game might be over. So Mike Wong might be forced to make a very early substitution here. There he is, the number 4. It's gone down. Really started the match gingerly in the opening minutes in terms of his changes of direction and running towards the ball. So this is not a good sign at all to lose your best defender, not just for this game, in the early part of this game, but probably for the rest of the tournament. Early change imminent for Laos. Will they bring him on before Singapore take this corner? The best hitter of the ball is PIYAPHONG, and he's gone off. Oh, it's a free header yet again. This time TAUFIK SUPARNO couldn't get any sort of a contact on the ball. That's, the Laotian defense have certainly not woken up at all in this match. And goalkeeper SAYMANOLINH PASEUTH needs to take charge a lot more. TAUFIK's free yet again. This time they go deep to IKHSAN, and it's cleared easily. It needed to be as well by PHATHANA. Here's AMIRUL. Solid enough in that match against Malaysia. ZHARFAN's goal kicks. His kicks have been tested already in this match. Irfan knows that IKHSAN will chase after anything that's put behind the defense, and he's gone down the channel once again to IKHSAN. FANDI somehow managing to squeeze his way through, and it's a penalty. Singapore have earned a penalty. Oh, it's as gullible as you'd like from the Laotian side, because IKHSAN had nowhere around and nowhere to go through. He had no support whatsoever up front either. When he got the ball, he was waiting for it, and all he did was just hold it up. He got lucky with that first. Then those two challenges that came storming in as he tried to sandwich himself on the way to goal. Now that was very, very gullible from the Laotians. Totally naive. And it's the captain, once again, SIPASONG, who went AWOL for the opening goal. He's going into that challenge on IKHSAN, and he's conceded the penalty, and it's just 10 minutes played, and Singapore have an opportunity to take a 2-goal lead. It will be IKHSAN. Let's see how he responds to this. IKHSAN FANDI. Ice in his veins. 2-0 Singapore. IKHSAN opens his SEA Games account. Easy as you like. And that, by the way, the 55th goal scored by Singapore at under 23 level. IKHSAN FANDI dispatches it. It's the first time that Singapore have scored 2 against Laos at the SEA Games since 2009, when they beat Laos 3-1 in a 3rd and 4th placing match. Long way back now for the Laotians. Singapore now licking their lips at a huge scoreline. That's a scream there from the bench to tell Irfan you don't have to dive into that challenge. And a lot of times Irfan FANDI is very much instinctively a forward. Goes in for his defensive duties, has that tendency. Just go jumping into those challenges. Laos trying to find a way through now, get themselves right back into this match. What they need is just a goal. Get the Singapore defense shivering yet again, and who knows what might happen from there. They've asked for a free kick, it's not forthcoming. Helmi's done superbly well, not just to defend it and marshal that ball out, but also to pick a pass to TAUFIK SUPARNO. He's got no way forward though, so decides to go all the way back to Sharin. Ball that was very much hopeful actually finds a teammate in Hami Shahin. Adam Swandi, huge difference since he's come on now to play as the quarterback. That was another delightful pass spread out to Hanafi Akbar, who's just been given way too much room down this right-hand side of Laos for Mike Wong's liking. He can hurt you with his dribbles. It's slightly off then. Hanafi Akbar had time to actually look across, so no excuses for being caught in an offside position. Helmi, who's won every challenge in midfield so far. TAUFIK trying to just roll it down the line to IKHSAN, stronger in the challenge once again. Here is IKHSAN. This time they do watch their challenges and their feet coming into play. So difficult to shake off the ball. Can be a real handful and a real monster when he comes forward. Talking about monsters, the monster brother of his, Irfan Fandi, deciding to just take no chances at all with the clearance. So far so good after 14 minutes. Handball. Laotian free kick. Well, in order to get themselves right back into this, the Laotians have to do something that they've never done against Singapore before at the SEA Games, and that is to score more than one goal. They've scored in their last 2 encounters, remember, after going goalless in the first 4. Now they need to score 2. Free kick which was swung in by PHATHANA. PHOMMATHEP looking for a teammate. Easily held by ZHARFAN. They are really pesky to play against Laos, and they will hunt for the ball at every given opportunity. There's no give up in these players. Nafi Agba, ball's played through to Rohaizad. Tried to play it in behind the defense for the on-rushing Hami Shayan. Here's Adam Swandi. He's asked for the corner, and I think that he's gotten the call from the referee. Oh, there were players waiting in the box, and the returning figure then of KHAMPANH SONTHANALAY actually kept IKHSAN onside. So a cross was needed then instead of the shot from Adam. But I guess if you're 2 goals up, sometimes you have that right to want to take shots and trouble the opposition goalkeeper. Seeing how vulnerable they've become now. Irfan and IKHSAN side by side with one another. Need a higher ball than that. Somehow the Laotians just can't clear it enough, and that's a good enough ball. It should be, well, it's offside. It wouldn't have counted anyway from Irfan. It was on target and it should have gone past the goalkeeper. He's a much better header of the ball than that. We thought that this, well, it was not offside, was it? Irfan Fandi. It was a good save in the end by PASEUTH. He usually thumps those headers with much more aplomb than he did then. Well, they need some semblance of a rhythm in their squad now, Laos. Singapore also disrupting that by giving away these free kicks and getting themselves organized at the back while the ball's played dead. And one of them is Helmi Sohaimi. Happy to go in with the challenge to stop the next attack. PHOUTTHASAY. Well, surging past looking for SINOUANE. SAYMANOLINH. It's never going to find him. Very much a centre forward, played out as a wide winger in this match. SINOUANE, SAYMANOLINH. But it's their midfield that has totally collapsed in the opening minutes. Laos allowing Adam Swandi all the freedom in the world to dictate and play creative director. Nafi Agba has had a very lively opening, including creating the opening goal. No nonsense at all from Irfan, saying, chase that, bro. KHAMPANH SONTHANALAY, player that has come on, number 20. Laos, LATHASAY. Now there's space operating the center of the pitch. Well, you could see what the idea was. To slip it right through inside to PHATHANA. To need a lot more swerve and hit the outside of the boots. To be played behind that Singapore defense. Idea was right, just execution was way too straight. Not enough angle behind it. Here's IKHSAN chasing after a lost cause, which that statement itself probably has summed up his 2017 SEA Games outing. The best of clearances then by LATHASAY. ZHARFAN ROHAIZAD, who has been left to work on his kicking exercises in this match more than anything else. And once again trying to get the impetus of the attack going. That little flick onto Hanafi. Every given opportunity they're looking for the runs of Hanafi behind the Laotian right full back, because Captain SIPASONG has just been unable to cope. Very adventurous right full-back, wanting to move up in attack as much as possible, and a lot of times just seeing the ghost of Hanafi just behind him, dashing away. Here is the aforementioned Hanafi once again. Well kept in play by Rohaizad. They've asked for a throw-in, but it's gone the way of Singapore. Everything's gone the way of Singapore in the opening exchanges, much to his delight. PHOUTTHASAY KHOCHALERN, 2 goals at the last SEA Games, even scored at the 2014 Suzuki Cup. KHOCHALERN. Irfan had all the time in the world to spot, and he does spot a quite superb ball to Hanafi. Another step over, another victory against fullback. IKHSAN looks for the angle for the shot, lays it off in the end. Might have done better to swivel and shoot. SWANDI. IKHSAN took that one brilliantly. He's asked for another penalty. This time the referee says play on. That was a chip off the old block, wasn't it? Took that down brilliantly on the chest. Just couldn't find the finish in time. The ball did not sit in time for him. There we go. Needed a little shuffle before pulling the trigger. And by that time, defense just had enough nows in him. SOMPHOUPHETH just to get the ball off IKHSAN. Well, Myanmar needed 91 minutes to score 2 against Singapore. To score 2 against Laos, I should say. Singapore just needed the 10. It's been a nightmarish 15 minutes of football for Laos. They were 1-1 with Myanmar, and then 5 minutes of added time, they conceded 2. And then after 2 minutes in this game, they conceded 1, and another penalty given away in the early exchanges. TAUFIK SUPARNO, scorer of the opening goal, trying to tee it up for the scorer of the second goal, IKHSAN. Once again, the quality of deliveries hasn't been of the highest quality we've seen so far. Balls kept in play just by SINOUANE. Has to go all the way back. Laos rescued by the referee's whistle. It's that challenge that came in a little bit too stormy on Rohaizad. Salim. It's way too physical. Attempt to try to win the ball back and win the ball back as high up as possible on the pitch. First real shot at goal by Laos. An interesting one. If it was on target, ZHARFAN would have struggled to get there. It was dipping all the way from THANIN PHANTHAVONG. Well, it broke kindly to him, but he had enough confidence to actually put laces behind it. Almost peerless in its accuracy. Halfway through the first half, TAUFIK SUPARNO giving Singapore the early lead, and then a penalty by IKHSAN FANDI, having won it himself with a charging run inside the Laotian box. I can tell you that Singapore have won their second gold medal of these games, and it's come in the synchronized swimming duets technical routine finals. Congratulations to Debbie So and Mia Yong. So second gold medal for Singapore. They both come in synchronized swimming. If you haven't heard, Singapore's monopoly on water polo almost came to an end today against Indonesia. They were actually trailing to the Indonesians with 1.5 minutes remaining in that match before salvaging a 4-all draw. So that's still very much alive. And Chantal Louis has also won a bronze medal in open water swimming. And here in the century of football matches at the SEA Games, they are leading Laos by 2-0. Hanafi. IKHSAN has made a superb run and it's almost found by Hanafi. He hasn't given up on it yet. IKHSAN, he's taking the time though to finally take that shot at goal. TAUFIK SUPARNO. TAUFIK. Easily cleared in the end. It's just that moment that IKHSAN had a window of opportunity to really pull the trigger and throw in the napalm, and he didn't. Still Singapore very much on the front foot. IKHSAN looking to become the first Singaporean to score 2 in a game against Laos since Indra Shadan scored a hat-trick for them in 2001, the last time the SEA Games were held in Kuala Lumpur. Laotians dropping like flies at the moment, the latest being SINOUANE XAMOUNTY. Finding the going pretty tough and pretty physical so far against a Singapore team that are highly charged for this match. We thought that demoralizing effect might have kicked in after leading against Malaysia and then throwing that match away. As I said, they need to win and then talk to the Laotians right after this, shake their hands and say, do us a favor and get a result against the Malaysians. Sharin, still Sharin, fought hard enough to get to it. IKHSAN will hunt and win every ball in the air, as always. Adam Swandi's pulled up, remember, he's just returned from ankle ligament damage. Wasn't a very good sign. He's jogging it off now, sprinting it back in time. I think he should be okay. Right on cue, whenever his teammates won the ball back, suddenly the spring in the step has returned. Hami. Hami has given the ball away needlessly. The Laotians were waiting for him to commit, and the moment he did, that was when they pounced on it. Here's a chance for PHOUTTHASAY to try to deliver a more meaningful cross. And his bid to look for the angle totally misjudged the width of the pitch. Another Laotian's gone down. It's the same player, SINOUANE XAMOUNTY. They've already had to make one change in this match, and this might be the second one. It doesn't look good at all. It looked as if he was winded in the first place, but I think might have cracked a few ribs there. Move, starting with that lovely no-look pass from Hami Shayan for the opening goal for TAUFIK SUPARNO. Might have been a tap-in for IKHSAN FANDI, but he totally misjudged the pace of the ball. And then the penalty by IKHSAN after muscling his way through a couple of challenges and taking one right on the shin. TAUFIK and IKHSAN. Singapore 2 to the good. SINOUANE XAMOUNTY doesn't look good. And it's Amisai who will take his place. Amisai Ketavong, player who scored a goal at the 2016 AFF Under-19 Championships. He's got an eye for it as well. Rohaizad. Another searing pass, trying to spear it down for the run of TAUFIK SUPARNO by Irfan. This time though, too much bend in that. Hami trying to just strangulate and suffocate this Laotian midfield, stopping them from passing the ball fast enough, because if they get their passes going. This Laotian team can be pretty metronomic. Here's an opportunity to show it once again. Looking for those 2-on-1 situations and looking for the runners off the ball. They did find one, that time in the form of THANIN. Pass though lacks the accuracy was needed to take it onto a stride in front of him. Hanafi, almost a lucky breakthrough for him. It's going to be a free kick for Singapore. All because Hamishayan has got his body in the way. He's happy enough to take any form of contact. Pretty nippy. Hamishayan can be a very clever player on his day. SIPASONG is someone who is pretty nippy as well going forward. Has been found wanting defensively in this match so far. Hanafi has enjoyed his moments with him. It's a lovely flip-flap from Hanafi. Almost finding the cross into the path of IKHSAN yet again. And once again, it's KHAMPANH who's got to come in to cover. Magnificent little flip-flap from Hanafi. When he first came onto the scene, a lot of people were looking at him at the Youth Olympic Games, especially with the 2 goals that he scored in the 3rd and 4th placing match, which won them the bronze. A lot of them likening him to a certain V. Sundramuthi as well. When he first came out, Hanafi, so far, we all know, he's had a very checkered career. 15 minutes remaining in the first half, a first half which Singapore really should have added to this 2 goals that they've already picked up. They should be pretty pleased with how the game's going. IKHSAN almost capitalizing on little misjudgment on the part of the Laotians. Here is Hanafi once again. This time, for the first time in the match, actually failed to control the ball cleanly enough. Asked Rushadi to help in terms of the cross. Rushadi just hangs it up, trying to work the goalkeeper, which he did. PASEUTH, not at all challenged, an easy claim from him. When he started the first 2 matches, Rushadi Salim at right full-back. He shows that he's versatile enough to take his place down this left-hand side. It's a very much deal with an inverted winger. So if that was the ploy by Richard Tardy, it's a very clever one. SWANDI, PHOMMATHEP has been kept very quiet so far. ZHARFAN saying it's the first time, but the referee saying first or last. Whenever you use your elbow. Well, he was using it for leverage more than anything else, ZHARFAN. It's a very soft free kick to give away from the official. PHANTHAVONG. That one's a clearer free kick, and this one will be a yellow card too for Hanafi Akbar. Prone to moments of petulance. Hanafi in matches. This time, just over eagerness to win the ball back straight away. And in a match where he has caused problems to no end to Laotians in terms of his footwork, time had a taste of his own medicine. THANIN PHANTHAVONG. As I said, they're not the tallest side, they're not the biggest side. Easily headed away by ZHARFAN. Still THANIN. PHOUTTHASAY. Well, Singapore have done enough, done well enough to keep themselves compact in this game and to deny the space for the Laotians, whether it's down the flanks or right through the middle. So the opening match against Myanmar, they just ceded possession way too easily throughout that game. They were totally dominated in the middle of the park. They couldn't deal with the pace of the likes of Ong Tu and Situ Ong, especially down the left-hand side. Rushadi, yet again trying to dip it behind the defense for IKHSAN. They've tried that route a couple of times already to good effect. Not that time though. ROHAIZAD can pick the ball up. ZHARFAN ROHAIZAD. Here's Adam Swandi looking to dictate and pull the strings from the middle of the park. Sharin. It is kept in play by Hami. Hami, IKHSAN attacks. Goalkeeper PASEUTH is always favoured to get to it. Needed the help of this defence that time from PHOUTTHASAY, just to shepherd IKHSAN away from the ball. Free kick, Laos. These young lions have put the goals on board in this match. Just before this, they had drawn more 0-0 matches against Laos than any other side and any other country in the SEA Games. We were worried it was going to turn out that way. The game needed an early goal. It got that. Got two very early goals. It's got the Laotians coming right out of their shells now. It's just the Laotians' 17th SEA Games, whereas Singapore are on their 25th attempt to win that elusive gold medal. Adam Swandi, and surely is going to be way too much for TAUFIK SUPARNO, even with his pace. These two sides' first ever under-23 match at the SEA Games in 2001 was a meeting with one another in KL. It ended 4-0 to Singapore that day. Sharan with a hat-trick. It's sheer power. It's forced its way right through. Sun was hoping for a little hanger. Good work by AMIRUL ADLI. Not too often that we see him in an offensive position. There he was, looking to exploit. It has been a very feeble attempt by Laos to play any sort of football, just giving in way too easily to the physical prowess of the Singapore side. So physicality has actually won this match thus far. It's another ball given away, this time by their star player PHATHANA, and the fullback's gone missing yet again. So that's the reason why the ball's been played outside down this left-hand side for Singapore. And Afi Akbar has taken up a very good position. Mohelmi decides to switch flanks to TAUFIK, and it's easily headed away by SOMPHOUPHETH SANTI. Three of the past 4 meetings between these two teams have ended in draws. So the Laotians have a lot to do in order to make it 4 out of 5 now. And somehow just wriggling himself clear as PHOMMATHEP did score that decisive goal against Malaysia, which clinched them the bronze medal at the 2015 AFF Under-16 champs. Was number 8. Also scored 2 at the recent Under-23 qualifiers. Well, even the lucky breaks are happening for Singapore. It started, of course, with that goal kick by ZHARFAN that just eluded every player into the middle of the park, and ended with Hami taking full advantage of it and releasing Hanafi before the ball found its way to TAUFIK and the opening goal. Here's AMIRUL. Rohaizad, enough confidence to take it on the run and in his stride. Somehow the ball's not magnetic enough for the Laotians. Just finding it hard to contain this very slippery pitch. Heavy enough. Some downpour. This force little bounce-aways. Footballers just absolutely loathe. that's too clever from Adam. Needed the ball to be played a simpler way than that. That way, exactly that. Here's Hami Shayan. Once again, IKHSAN trying to do that little run around behind the defense. He is trying to get to this ball, but it's slid away by PHATHANA. Not enough meat behind that from Hanafi to find IKHSAN. Break might be on here. ZHARFAN was alert though. Almost found a moment which he wouldn't want to watch on the highlights reel for the rest of his life then. Wonderful takedown by Hanafi. Yet again, not enough sugar behind that pass to IKHSAN. Well, throughout this tournament, IKHSAN FANDI has run his jewels to the ground. That there's no taking away from him. He's chased after every lost cause, but you feel that finishing ability, poacher's instinct might still need some sharpening through the years. Sharin Sebrin was one of the nominees for the S-League Young Player of the Year award last year. Well, he was turning out for Home United. He's at the Young Lions now, and he is very much the squad captain, playing in his first ever SEA Games match, but not having the captaincy for this game. They've decided to allow Irfan to keep it. 5 minutes to go. No nonsense at all from Irfan Fandi. I think the coaches have watched the opening game between Singapore and Myanmar. And I found that you need a couple of players to really stifle IKHSAN Fandi from winning those headers in the air, because that boy has certainly got leaping abilities, but just need one behind just to distract him, probably put a hand on him, be a little physical, and the other one just in front to win, or someone just to win the second balls in case he does win that aerial duel. So far in this match, just like the one against Malaysia, he hasn't had much joy in terms of the of anything airborne. Was that offside? It's called in the end by the assistant referee, who flagged straight away. It's good organizational work between Amirul and Irfan to catch SOUKCHINDA, NATPHASOUK in an offside position. Just offside. It was Rashidi, almost played him on. SOUKCHINDA has been very quiet in this match. Midfield just totally too far spread apart from him. Not protecting the defense. They're almost going wide. Midfield. And every time there is a second ball to be picked up in the middle of the park, it is picked up by a player in blue, just as it is again. TAUFIK SUPARNO asked to chase after that. Needed a lot more bend and angle behind that pass in order to get to him. Latasai. Well, he even wasn't watching the ball at all. SIPASONG BOUNTHAVY. Because of that, Rishad Tadi was asking for a free kick from the referee. Amirul, cleverly worked by Singapore to get themselves out of that tight situation with a few wonderful passes, working that triumvirate. See what Hami Shayan was trying to do, and that's the reason why he was so frustrated with himself. Was TAUFIK SUPARNO had made himself as wide as possible and used the whole width of this pitch to get himself free from the fullback. If only Hami could have found him, it might have been an attack on down the right-hand side, but instead that pass went inwards. Just a little nutmeg on Hanafi. Challenge way too strong that time from Adam SWANDI on PHOMMATHEP. Well, just that little one move, and you can tell why everyone's spoke up of PHATHANA being the next big thing in Laotian football. Hanafi's got to watch. Remember, he is already on a yellow card. And he'll be well advised, especially at halftime from his coach, to stop diving into those challenges. AMIRUL wanted the free kick, but instead gets the throw. And he's asked for more protection from the referee. And SOUKCHINDA has just totally taken his frustrations out on the Singapore number 4. Because it has been a very frustrating first 45 minutes for Laos. Given no time to settle, given no time at all to do their pesky work. It's usually the Laotians who make it so hard for you to play your football. It's gone the other way around in this match. Singapore dominating from start to finish. Here is IKHSAN, still IKHSAN. IKHSAN's burst through. IKHSAN's taken it round the goalkeeper, but way too far. Looking for that brace. IKHSAN FANDI did everything right. You almost felt as if whether he was cute enough to lift it over the goalkeeper. He decided not to take that chance. Touch just slightly heavy here. And it gave enough time for PHATHANA, who was almost taken over at right full back from SIPASONG BOUNTHAVY, to slide in and clear it for a corner to Singapore. Amishayan knowing that Hanafi is still outside, but Hanafi's got company now. Here is Hanafi Akbar. Still Hanafi. Wants the free kick, not getting it. The referee deemed that he had already played the ball way too long beyond the byline for him to chase onto it, even if he had escaped the clutches and the sliding challenge of PHATHANA. As I said, he's got to watch, because some referees do give it for a dive. Well, PASEUTH has come up, has taken a real knock in that collision. But he was brave enough, and he had to be too, because there was a break on. SAYMANOLINH just went charging into TAUFIK SUPARNO, who himself is looking for his own brace. Well, it's a case of the goalkeeper being the more desirable at that instant, and TAUFIK trying to nick it off him. Both have gone down as we go into the first of 2 added minutes, this first 45, which has really gone the way of Singapore, unlike the first couple of matches. So the 2 goal scorers. So we have a look at the penalty that led to the second goal, or the move that led to the penalty. IKHSAN using all muscles, bullying his way around NATPHASOUK, and then SIPASONG. That was a penalty that never came. He has made a difference, hasn't he, Adam SWANDI, into the central midfield zone since he's come on. It's something that we lacked to the opening 2 matches, just someone to actually dictate matters and look up and spot a teammate up front, or just continue its passing motion. The opening couple of games, the midfield was there just to win battles and protect the defense, but did nothing much actually moving forward. So first half at the Selayang Stadium, and Singapore with 2 goals in the opening 10 minutes. First of which with their first real attack of the game. Nafi Akbar sets free by a brilliant no-look pass by Amishayan, and a cross that's eluded IKHSAN but found its way to TAUFIK SUPARNO for the opening goal. And then IKHSAN FANDI deciding to take things on all by himself for the second. Won the penalty, took it, slotted it calmly, and Singapore 2-0 at the break.
menang Muhammad Taufik. Untuk pemain campur dan negara pemain jersey nomor 9 Muhammad Taufik. Polisi Laos. Pemeriksaan awal PHANTAVONG dan kemudian menjadi gol.
Welcome back to the SOMPHOUPHETH Stadium on a day where it's a terrible day to be outdoors in KL. Storm hitting the capital of Malaysia. Not unless you're a Singapore footballer, because it has been a case of dancing in the rain, especially in the first 45 minutes, taking an early 2-goal lead against Laos. But they have to watch, because the Laotians might come back strong at the start of the second half. It's lightning around the area, so the referee might be in focus for the second half. And I'm hoping at least they can complete the 45 minutes before the lightning really strikes. There is a game to be played later on at night between Brunei and Myanmar. And as I said, Singapore need some favors there, and hoping that Brunei can do a number on Myanmar and keep alive their very own hopes of qualifying. AMIRUL, long searching ball forward, which the goalkeeper will claim easily. IKHSAN once again bearing down on him, as he has done throughout that first half. AMIRUL back to IKHSAN, who's got himself into an onside position. IKHSAN's powered his way through, couldn't beat the goalkeeper, did everything right with it. Shaped his body on the outside and then taken it in the inside again for unleashing it with his left peg. Well, a goal and an early one for Laos in the second half will certainly spice things up. So, keeping themselves compact and organised is top of the list of Rishad Tardy for his charges in the second half before they go hunting for more. Rushaidi has done well down this left-hand side of this match. Adam SWANDI. SOUKCHINDA. He got himself into a real tight spot then. The referee helped him out by calling for the free kick. His last storm forward. Good work by ZHARFAN. Just keeping iron ball all the way through. Putting in that challenge just in time to prevent AMISAI from breaking clear. Oh, it's a free header at the far post. Oh, the defense just went to sleep, and a case of miscomm. Goalkeeper ZHARFAN ROHAIZAD did his work and protected his near post with all the jealousy in the world, and needed that to be as well, because it was on target then from SIPASONG BOUNTHAVY. Probably the smallest player on the pitch. Well, he didn't attack the ball in the end. It wasn't him. It was actually his forward, NATPHASOUK. Well, this was the chance for IKHSAN. It looked as if he was shaping up for that 30 shots, the way he opened his body up, but instead he went solo all inside by himself, took the adventure all the way to the goalkeeper, did well enough to get a strong hand onto it. Well, he's been in the wars. SIPASONG had a first half to forget, really. Went missing for the first goal, gave away the penalty for the second, and immediately the Laotian bench signaled for him to play further forward. Since you like going forward so much, you might as well play in right midfield, and they dropped their star player PHATHANA, PHOMMATHEP, down into right fullback. It was hung up in the air forever. It was a very good cross. Defense just went to sleep, and Roshidi was keeping his eye on the player instead of the ball, and allowed SOUKCHINDA. That's free header at goal. IKHSAN. Hanafi, well defended that time by PHATHANA. Suddenly there are spaces to be exploited now in behind the Singapore defense, which has opened up a few channels for the Laotians to get into. They haven't fully taken advantage of it yet, but SOUKCHINDA finally has an effort on target. That'll please him no end. Player who scored 2 at the last SEA Games. Roshidi always wanted to take it on his right foot. He didn't even get any sort of contact on the ball, which spun out for a throw-in. Hami showing him how it's done in order to cushion the ball. Adam. Hanafi. Early cross for IKHSAN to attack. My goodness, what a leap that one was for IKHSAN. Big jump from him, ahead of the goalkeeper. It got nowhere near the ball. Look at this jump from IKHSAN Fandi. He jumped so high, he almost high-fived the Almighty. Bam. You see first flashes of lightning coming through the game. The referee's already given a penalty to Singapore. And the last thing the likes of ZHARFAN and AMIRUL want to do is just to push players aside and give the referee a chance to even things up in terms of the penalty count. What's the referee going to do here? I think he's going to talk to the matchcom right now, and as we suspected at halftime, the focus will be on him, whether he wants to carry this game on or not, because he has been called onto the bench. The 4th official from India, Nagavaratevas, is telling him that the imminent signs of lightning in the area might force this game to be suspended for a while. So we've only played 5 minutes in the second half, and on what has been a dreary day in Kuala Lumpur, might be a long one for this football match. He'll carry on a while more, and it's left to the referee's discretion now whether the threat is going to be an ongoing one. Hami, clever ball, played behind for TAUFIK, who almost didn't expect that little hook on from the number 14. Clearance not good enough by SOMPHOUPHETH. Sharin, who is very much a centre-back playing at right-back. Balls played like that in the air for him would be meat and drink for Sharin Sabrin. TAUFIK SUPARNO. Last thing the referee needs is for players to lose the plot here and get a little too explosive on one another. THANIN PHANTHAVONG. No skirmish on his part. Wasn't happy that TAUFIK was using his body to try to protect the ball. He couldn't get a kick. And in the end, had a kick out. And TAUFIK returned the favor. That's a little kick out from TAUFIK right there. Well, it's a free kick for Singapore. Trying to build on this 2-goal lead. Hamishayan. That's a delightful ball. Hung up. Whistle had been blown before IKHSAN dispatched and planted the header past the goalkeeper. Well, it was players all around. There we go. That little push from IKHSAN. It's called by the referee, and it was a correct call. IKHSAN with another header, one in the air. TAUFIK SUPARNO not going to get bullied, but this time much better play from the fullback SANTI to clear the ball. THANIN. It's a very, very good pass. Played in behind the defense. ZHARFAN had to watch. Couldn't use his hands then because he was so close to the edge of the penalty box. He was in danger of actually taking the ball out and giving away a free kick, so he had to use his legs. He had to improvise. That he did, all right. But in the end, took the contact as well from PHANTHAVONG. Will be a throw to Laos, but first treatment given to the both players involved in the latest physical episode of the Singapore-Laos fixture. So we played 54 minutes of Singapore's 100th football match at the SEA Games. It's gone the way of the Lions. Stays like that. It's their 40th victory at the SEA Games in football, and more importantly, of course, it gives them a glimmer of hope going into their final match against Brunei, which will happen in 4 days from now. Good work by TAUFIK SUPARNO. Chris getting his body in the way and then just marshalling it out of play, out of harm's reach. Well, they've already made 2 changes and enforced ones. Amisi was one of them who had to be forced into coming on for XAMOUNTY very early in the match. Mike Wong, their coach, will be hoping that their next substitution would be a tactical one instead of another enforced one. There's with a flick on once again. Hamishayan is usually diminutive and very hard. Hardly see him winning battles in the air. Wins that one. It's getting all scrappy at the moment, which suits Singapore because they have that 2-goal lead, and the Laotians don't look like showing any sort of appetite into coming right back into this match. Free kick needlessly given away by Rushadi, although he was totally tricked into it, to be honest, by PHOUTTHASAY KHOCHALERN. Free kick to be taken by PHATHANA, PHOMMATHEP. ZHARFAN was watching it all the way. A little form of communication from the goalkeeper, telling his defense just stand their ground, making sure that they prevent the Laotians from jumping and winning the ball in the air, and it was his. Well, the players in front of him did their job and he did his. Hanafi, still Hanafi Akbar, dragged down, wins a free kick. Well, it's an all too familiar sight, isn't it? A Laotian player going down injured. Amisai Ketavong. who went limp after a challenge by ZHARFAN ROHAIZAD, has continued writhing in pain on the ground and needs some attention now. So it will be a third and fourth change for Laos. This time PASEUTH will be the latest to take to the pitch as the substitute is substituted off, all because of this challenge. And it was a very fair one. It was very painful because it's almost as if he was caught with his studs in the ground. So it might be a knee problem facing AMIRUL, but PASEUTH has come on and they've made their 3 changes. So the next one for Laos, the next injury for Laos will be met with trepidation. Corner for Singapore. Sharin Sabrin decided to stay in the box, this time joined by Irfan Fandi. AMIRUL ADLI has decided to stay back for this. IKHSAN is up there too. Fandi brothers side by side with one another, hoping to hunt and win this ball in the air. That's AMIRUL at the back and Mohelmi helping with the clearance, but only as far as Laos and boots. TAUFIK SUPARNO, enough thirst in him just to get the ball back. Still Mohelmi almost ran himself into danger. Hamishayan's doing likewise before turning away from it. That is a very clever ball to AMIRUL, and that's a no-nonsense approach, but it's picked up by Laos, and it's almost a 4-on-2 break now. Space opening up for PHOUTTHASAY. It's a covering challenge by Irfan Fandi, and he probably had an opportunity to take it inside Irfan. He went for the first time effort to try to squeeze it in between goalkeeper and post. It's PHITHACK actually, PHITHACK Komatangam, who has been doing a lot of his work defensively more than moving forward. And they're totally missing their flankers at the moment, Laos, because they've had so much to do to help out with their fullbacks. It's almost as if their fullbacks and their wingers are playing side by side on the pitch, which shouldn't be the case. It should be one in front of the other. And a change of pace by IKHSAN. Fandi easily taken away. It's a poor jump that time by Sharin. ZHARFAN, another iffy kick. Good challenge by Mohelmi, just to deflect that shot out by SIPASONG. Well, seen a couple of kicks here from ZHARFAN ROHAIZAD that explained why the Singapore side were very unwilling to pass the ball back to him in the match against Malaysia. Somehow it's a goal kick to Singapore. It looked as clear as day then. That was a deflection on Mohelmi Suhaimi that took the ball out. So more than an hour played. Laos created a lot more chances in the second half than they did in the whole of the first. They still haven't been able to penetrate ZHARFAN's goal. Hanafi didn't really fancy that challenge and that 50-50 ball that was played out to him by Saidi. Irfan read that ball well. His long balls played forward have been very accurate in this match. That one found TAUFIK. Found a challenging Lakai. PHOUTTHASAY faster to it. Hamishayan forced to make that challenge. Irfan, no nonsense this time, not going back to his goalkeeper. Get it as safe as possible to an area where there is no one. Good work that time by Sharin Sabrin to stand his ground and cover and not allow SOUKCHINDA to turn, because we see, and we've seen already in this half, how dangerous he can be when the ball's played up in the air for him. Hanafi Akbar, the only player booked in this match thus far. Hanafi, after a cynical challenge in the first half, might see coach Rishad Tadi actually trying to ring in the changes and pull Hanafi out for the second half, just to, it's cautionary more than anything else. Fatana didn't really fancy that crossfield pass all the way outside to Latasai. It was a correct decision as well, because a couple of Singapore players had moved forward when he shaped himself up for that pass. Now this is more like the Laotian football that they played against Myanmar. It's clever TikTok passes in the middle of the park. Yet again though, they couldn't find their range. ZHARFAN not helped very much by Irfan's ball back to him. TAUFIK asked to chase after this loose one. He will get onto it. TAUFIK SUPARNO. Still TAUFIK SUPARNO. He's gone to the byline. Goalkeeper improvised and did pretty well with his legs. PASEUTH. Well, he took a gamble. He read the situation. And he abandoned his near post just to come across it, because he just felt instinctively that TAUFIK SUPARNO was going to just cut it back to IKHSAN FANDI. It was the right decision. SIPASONG. Shot by THANIN. It's always going wide. Singapore defense just backing off and daring him to test their goalkeeper. Well, he took the challenge on. ZHARFAN, aside from that save that he made at the near post, hasn't been troubled at all in this match. And we haven't seen much of Singapore as an attacking force in the second half. Just that one shot by IKHSAN, which was hit straight at goalkeeper PASEUTH. And a minute ago, a run by TAUFIK SUPARNO down the byline. Failed to find a target on the cutback. So the first change for Singapore. And it will be Hanafi Akbar, as we suspected, to come off. Haikal Pasha, who hasn't featured since starting the first match, will take his place down the left-hand side. Haikal's been known to score in these youth tournaments. 1 goal in the AFF Under-19 2015 Championships, 2 goals in the AFC Under-19 qualifiers. He scored a goal as well last year in the AFF Under-19s. So he does have an appetite for the big occasion, Haikal Pasha. So difficult in the opening 2 matches. Singapore wingers had to do so much defensively that we didn't see a lot of them moving forward. By the time that they're in their opponent's half, trying to find any sort of angles for their forwards, totally pumped out by then. Sharin Sabrin. IKHSAN expected the ball to be played down the flanks and decided to go bursting inside the penalty box to meet anything that was going to be hit at him if they found TAUFIK SUPARNO. Instead they went to IKHSAN, and the whole momentum of the attack totally petered out. Laos wanted that momentum on their side, but the referee prevented it, because he felt that the challenges coming in that time on PHOUTTHASAY was strong enough for him to blow for a free kick, and he didn't have the advantage in front of him. Santi, good take on the run. This was a little too heavy with a touch in the end by THANIN PHANTHAVONG. It's owned by Bangkok Glass in Thailand, one of 2 players in the squad alongside Fatana, who play their football in Thailand. Spent a couple of seasons on loan already from Bangkok Glass, THANIN PHANTHAVONG. AMIRUL totally misjudged it. Second time around, got lucky. Rohaizade's telling him not to play around anymore inside your own half. Well, it's a second half that really hasn't had any sort of a rhythm on either side, and because of that it has been pretty scrappy. State of the pitch not helping matters either, and it is a football match that is filtering away into almost an unwatchable abyss. Almost heading towards hashtag Snorefest here. Hami Shahin. TAUFIK SUPARNO has latched onto everything that's played down the flanks, and this time does win a corner from PHOUTTHASAY. Oh, the game desperately needs a goal. Let's see Singapore if they can repeat the feat of the 3 that they scored against Laos in 2009 now. It's a very ambitious effort, but he was always underneath the ball. Mohelmi Saimi. Would have been goal of the tournament if that one had gone in. ZHARFAN dwelling on the ball way too long, and now the break is on for Laos. It's almost 3-on-4. SIPASONG didn't play it well enough though, made the wrong decision, made the wrong choice. TAUFIK SUPARNO, speaking of the wrong choice, almost the wrong ball to Hami Shahin. Oh, that was almost a perfect pass, played inside for IKHSAN FANDI. Lovely shape on that cross. Rohaizade, IKHSAN still inside, waiting for a good delivery. It was pretty poor in the end. TAUFIK or Hami couldn't do anything out of that crossfield pass by Rohaizade. Sharin Sabrin. Well, this boy's got a lot of character and a lot of steel in him, and he's being forced to come on and playing at right fullback, which is not his most coveted position, but he's done extremely well in this game, you have to say. It's been pretty safe down this right-hand side for Singapore, and a lot of it's down to the number 13. Another ball launched into the heart of the Laotian penalty box. Another ball cleared away to safety. That has been pretty much the pattern of play in the second half. Nothing much in terms of magic from individuals. Nothing much in terms of chances and opportunities. Sharin, that's a clever ball to Adam Swandi. Well, the defection took a lot of the power away from the ball. It fell gleefully into the arms of PASEUTH SAYMANOLINH. AMIRUL more than happy to go shoulder to shoulder and take on whatever in terms of a bullying aspect and anything physical. See there, standing right in front of the ball, diving in with a challenge wasn't a very good idea for Mohelmi, and he's allowed the ball to stop dead now, and it's a dead ball situation for Laos, and let's see if they can take full advantage of it. Clearly a free kick. Adam Swandi, in fact, went diving in.
Once more, okay, once more, okay.
18 minutes left. Goal here for Laos, and we very much have a football match as they find a way to actually exact some sort of revenge from their first game and find late goals the same way they conceded against Myanmar. Couldn't do anything in terms of the first delivery. The second goes out pretty easily after PHOUTTHASAY. KHOCHALERN, joint top scorer the last 3 games, couldn't do much with it. Well, they need a little bit of a boost in the squad at Singapore, and IKHSAN will now relinquish his place on the pitch to Joshua Pereira. Most likely means that Adam Swandi will be pushed further forward, side by side with IKHSAN FANDI and Mohelmi and Joshua Pereira patrolling the midfield. They will give up a form of creativity with Swandi missing in the middle of the park, but hopefully Adam will form a formidable partnership up front with IKHSAN. Well, they haven't really changed much in terms of the formation yet, so it will be Joshua Pereira playing just behind IKHSAN FANDI, and he's won it back straight away. Well worked by Joshua Pereira. TAUFIK SUPARNO running into danger, running into an offside position. He hasn't stopped running, has he? TAUFIK. He's just... Adam Swandi. IKHSAN got in the way of the pass, slapped right into his hand. Free kick Laos. It's been stop-start in the second half. Haven't seen a team actually string together more than 5 passes yet. See if Singapore can do this. Heikel Paisha, we haven't seen him much as an offensive force. Let's see him run at the fullback right now. That's Heikel Paisha. Well watched that time. Brilliantly timed by PHATHANA. PHOMMATHEP. Still, they can't get any sort of cadence with their movement, Laos. IKHSAN making it very, very tough for a centre-back to live with him. Told that man was close by. Couldn't run himself out into a clear angle. SIPASONG could do nothing more than clear it. Throw to Singapore. Swandi. Space opening up for the cross now. IKHSAN's in the box. Waiting to hunt. IKHSAN does get himself onto it. It's not enough power, of which he had to generate all of his own because the ball was hung up in the air forever. Free kick for Laos. Well worked by SOUKCHINDA to actually win something out of it, because he was all alone up front. And he backed and backed into AMIRUL, ensured that there was enough contact there to bring him down and give themselves a second chance, a lifeline from this free kick now. PHATHANA to take this. Is there going to be another change imminent in this Singapore squad? A referee sees some nonsense happening inside the penalty box and decides to call it off before the free kick is taken. PHATHANA, delivery is good enough. ZHARFAN is there yet again, towering above everybody else. PHOUTTHASAY. IKHSAN, brilliantly taken by IKHSAN. Had to release it earlier though. Well, That's in a nutshell. This tells you all about the inexperience of IKHSAN FANDI. The first touch was so delightful, the stuff that dreams are made of. And then instead of releasing the ball straight away, decided to take it on all by himself. Just needs that confidence, just look up the moments the balls come off his chest to spot a teammate, because Haikal was all set and ready to jet away down the left-hand side. Chuck. Deflection taking it away of Laos. Here's a chance to get right back into it. It was a scorer of the Laotian goal in the first match, PHATHANA, that took the final shot. SIPASONG has cut a very frustrated figure in this match, so he went charging after the ball. ZHARFAN spilt it. He had every right to go after it. But this was the effort. It was on target, yet again near post. And ZHARFAN's done extremely well, protecting it throughout this tournament. There were enough explosives in that effort from PHATHANA. Laotians somehow finding a way to get right back into this. SOUKCHINDA, they prefer him inside the penalty box. SOUKCHINDA, was that handball? The referee says play on. The shot comes in, so just bobbled just before he took that shot. But question marks are now being asked of the Singapore defense. So Laotians are just pressing higher up and just making sure that it's a siege mentality now on Irfan Amirul, putting at least 2 players up there every time they move towards their defensive third. So far they've answered everything thrown at them. It's how long can they live, allowing the Laotians to control the game in the middle of the park the way they have in the last 10 minutes. This was one of the clearer chances that they've had in the second half. PHATHANA, FOMMATHEP. Clear sight at goal. Didn't really have an angle. Wasn't helped by great positioning by ZHARFAN ROHAIZAD. So moving into the final 10 minutes of this tie. Both goals were scored in the opening 10 minutes. And we haven't had much action since then. Wins a header, first time out. IKHSAN pushed in the back, free kick to Singapore. Decided to take this. Unspectacular, but solid enough it has been for Rushaidi. Exactly what you need from a defensive fullback. SOUKCHINDA does well to wriggle himself clear of a couple of challenges and find a teammate with that pass. Seen more of Adam SWANDI in a defensive role in the second half than we did in the first, where he really was putting foot on ball at every given moment and putting pressure on the Laotian team with his passing abilities. Here's IKHSAN once again, almost from the same spot where he won the penalty earlier on. Sets it up for Joshua. Feeble attempt in the end, easily gathered by the goalkeeper. Will be another yellow card this time for the returning Sharon Sabrin. isn't IKHSAN who gets the yellow card. Is Sharin. SOUKCHINDA. ZHARFAN yet again. It's a couple of times that we've seen it already in this tournament. That's a proclivity to actually just go diving into challenges, especially when his opponents are near the corner flag. You've got nowhere to run. The last thing you do is just throw yourself out like that. It's a much better pass outside by Pereira. Rushaidi hit a little too long, way too long in the end for Heiko. Rushaidi started failing to keep the ball in play. Might have done better with the left foot instead of using his preferred right. It's an undying spirit that the Laotians are showing here. Let's give them credit for that. They're not just going to lie down and allow Singapore to walk all over them and get the 3 points. They're trying to find a way to get right back into this. As I said before the start of the match, perhaps a lot more riding on this match for Laos than Singapore. Already lost their opening 2. Laos on the verge of losing their opening 2. PATHANA. THANIN working things out with PATHANA down the right-hand side. Offside. Moments SOUKCHINDA got involved. The assistant referee was all set and ready to pull the flag up for an offside decision. Tanata Toshiaki, assistant from Japan. Into the final 6 minutes. Sharin does well to maintain possession and keep it with Singapore. Mohelmi though, with a nothing pass, sandwich in between Sharin and TAUFIK SUPARNO. Wasn't really designated for either one or the other. He has a second chance now after winning that one in midfield. ZHARFAN anywhere down the line. Laotians almost making a real hash out of that clearance. Sharin rescues the situation. TAUFIK SUPARNO couldn't find a way to get round, but somehow fortuitously the ball does fall to him. And that'll be the first booking of the night or the afternoon for a Laotian player. And it will be PHITHACK KONGMATHILATH who goes into the referee's books. Well, they started this game with a flourish. Can they end it the same way now, Singapore? To put a little more gloss to this scoreline. SWANDI taking over free kick responsibilities now that Ami Shahin has gone off. AMIRUL told that there wasn't anyone behind him, so decides to just take it down and take his time with it. ZHARFAN wants the ball to come right back to him. ZHARFAN decides to go long. Here is IKHSAN. Clever turn, not so the pass. Neither was that from Laos. TAUFIK SUPARNO, he's got clear through on goal. Side netting. Well, he asked for the ball, and we all know he's got pace to burn, TAUFIK SUPARNO. He made full use of it. Finish couldn't match it though. Joshua Pereira, a little better from Singapore in terms of stepping up in midfield and trying to win that situations, win those one-on-one duels in the middle of the park. IKHSAN, well worked by IKHSAN, brilliant cross by IKHSAN. Adam Swandi tried to make the most out of that situation. Couldn't. Sharin Severin, I believe the ball last came off him. It was Haikal Paisha totally misjudged the flight of the ball and the angle of it, because it was a brilliant cross that was played inside. And Paisha just moved slightly ahead of it. Mind you, if he had made some connection with it, tried a scorpion kick out of it, it might have been a real contender for goal of the tournament. Fathana. Still Fathana. Great work by Fathana. SOUKCHINDA ran out of ideas. Irfan bombing forward all by himself. Haikal, ball yet again left behind him. Rashaidi's broken clear. He's got some space now, some time to pick out the cross and who he wants to put it to. Once again, the delivery letting him down. It's almost put on the shoulder blades of TAUFIK SUPARNO. Tell what he was trying to do then, to clip it right at the far post, because IKHSAN FANDI was screaming and calling for the ball. AMIRUL. Helmi wants the ball in the middle of the park because he's got some space now to create. Good enough ball to IKHSAN. Still IKHSAN. IKHSAN! Covering tackle was good enough by PHITHACK. Was screaming at his fullback then, SOMPHOUPHETH, for actually giving up too easily on IKHSAN FANDI. He won that, then allowed IKHSAN to just brush him off the ball way too easily. Irfan, Joshua Pereira, upright. Laos might have a break on here if they can escape and play it out to the right-hand side. Well, it's belatedly played, and Adam Swandi's got in the way, and Haikal Paisha has the opportunity to exert more pressure on this Laotian defense. You can see that the players are totally tanked out now in the second half. Haikal Paisha, clever ball inside. IKHSAN lurking yet again. Joshua couldn't find him. Joshua trying to dink it. Failed to do so. PHITHACK. Sharin Sabrin. TAUFIK SUPARNO. Back to Sharin. Knows that TAUFIK does have the speed to latch onto that. So it's always going to be difficult, especially with a covering fullback and KHAMPANH in close proximity. Oh, this is a real opportunity for Joshua Pereira to become the 10th different goal scorer for Singapore against Laos at the SEA Games. Fathana. Well, he's tried to eliminate this match with his trickery and clever running, but that wizardry has just been nullified a little bit by the fact that he's been forced to play at right fullback more than as a right winger. So he's hardly troubled the Singapore defense the same way he did against Myanmar in that opening game. ZHARFAN, he's got to watch with his goal kick, because it's going to be low once again. It's a long way back to the middle of the sticks. It's all right. Adam Swandi couldn't find the pass to Paisha, and does enough against SIPASONG BOUNTHAVY. forced the Laotian captain to put it out of play for a throw. Foul by IKHSAN. Total striker, out and out centre forward, isn't it? To open your accounts, you want to get more goals. He's certainly tried his very best to add on to it. No effect though. Here is TAUFIK SUPARNO. There is support in the penalty box. Joshua Pereira and IKHSAN FANDI are there. TAUFIK couldn't get past SOMPHOUPHETH. PHITHACK. It's a little too physical on PHITHACK. PHITHACK has an opportunity to take a run at ZHARFAN. He does the next best thing, which is to win the corner. They're going to put a little damper to what has been a very good day for Singapore. That ZHARFAN has gone down, clutching his ankles. The referee might just call time on this match once ZHARFAN puts it right back into play. Probably a last piece of attack here for Singapore and IKHSAN FANDI. It's TAUFIK SUPARNO instead to get to the ball, and he's onside. TAUFIK took too long to decide whether to take a shot at goal or whether to go on by himself. He was just waiting and waiting for the ball to sit down perfectly for him. And sometimes you just have to meet it, even if it means taking it on with your head and going towards goal all by yourself. Will there be time to take this corner, which surely will be the final piece of action for this game? Sharin Sabrin will take this. It's a throw. El Yakubi, the referee, signals the end of Singapore's century of games at the SEA Games, and in their 100th match they finally get their 40th ever victory at the SEA Games against Laos, and it all came from a 10-minute spell at the start of the match. IKHSAN FANDI, as you'd expect, heavily involved with it. The opening goal set up by Hanafi Akbar. IKHSAN missed the chance in front of goal, but TAUFIK SUPARNO didn't spurn his to put Singapore 1-0 up. IKHSAN FANDI then went on a solo run all by himself, creating havoc in this Laotian penalty box, as he now consoles PHATHANA PHOMMATHEP. Remember, the Laotians needed to win their remaining matches in order to qualify, and now they have as far-fetched a dream of making the last four as Singapore do. But the Singaporeans will hope that the Laotians will get themselves up for it in their match against Malaysia, because they need favours now from both Brunei and Laos to beat Myanmar and Malaysia. And remember, Myanmar and Malaysia just need a point from their remaining games in order to secure a berth in the semi-finals. But the final score here is good news for Singapore. Goals from TAUFIK SUPARNO and IKHSAN FANDI, giving them their first win of the 2017 SEA Games by 2-0.